Welcome everyone to the season finale of North Stars Noise. I'm your host Rob Leonard and very excited to have in the studio with me today my partner in crime, all of the Junior B and Senior B North Star games this year, Mr. Glen Juniper. Glen, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure working this season with you.
It's been an absolute pleasure as well, and more of a pleasure to have you here today. I know you usually have stuff to do on Tuesdays, but we moved it to Wednesday so we could get you in here.
I appreciate that too.
Our pleasure. Thank producer Mark Perry for accommodating the schedule as well. Glen, North Stars this season, best season they've had since 2012. They made it to the final. Started off the season 0-2, but then they went 11-3 the rest of the way. Maybe we both know what the big difference was. Let's start talking about that.
Well, you know, first of all, they lost the first two games in NS4, and what happens there with Owen Sound? We don't have players living that many senior players living right in the city. Then so we go down there. We're 7 players really short of what we should have had down there. Ennismore took advantage of it, and then went 0-2. But then from there on, we started getting our players out, and as you say, we went 11-3 from there on in, and just had a super season on it.
That's right. You take a look at some of the players they added, and we alluded to during the season, guys like Andy Campbell, Colin Maudsley, Riley Thompson. I think I'm missing another 1 or 2 in there.
Oh, Zach Thompson.
Zach Thompson.
Zach, the brother Zach, come in
Riley Thompson. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep.
But each one of those players, they were all capable of putting the ball in the net, but they brought a different tangible to the team, each one of them. For example, Andy Campbell, the guy must be 6'4", 225 pounds. You'd call him a power forward in hockey. But how many times have we seen him just bowl his way in front of that goal and bury it?
Without question, and then he was a great addition in there. And everyone they brought in were great additions to the team. Then we had the scoring punch we needed, but we didn't have enough size on the forwards to open some lanes up when it come down to the crunch.
That's right. You take a look at the seasons from veterans. Robbie Milnes, in my estimation, had just an amazing season for the North Stars. Last year, like we said, he was sailing along really well, had a bit of a slump near the end of the season, but he picked it up again in the playoffs. But this year, Robbie was solid right from start to finish.
He was just steady right on through, and we touched on that in one of the games in there, and said how myself was more critical last year with him because you knew that scoring talent was there, and he was trying doing his best, but he just didn't seem to get it in. But this year he was just consistent right through, and that's why he was our leading scorer.
The prettiest goal of the season came in a game against the KW Velocity, and that was the day that the Rogers telecast was on the score clock, so everybody could see the Rogers telecast. They could see the replays and everything else. Tyler Simons from the North Stars goes in one-handed over the shoulder and buries it. For me, that was the prettiest goal.
Well, it was very pretty. You know, the odds of doing that are a very bad percentage. But he had nothing else to do. He'd already passed the net, but he had enough common sense about him. He did. He flips it over the one hand back over there, and it catches the goalie. The goalies aren't ready for that. And we can talk about one that Roger Weiss did at a bad time in our last home game here.
That's right.
Over the shoulder. So it happens. And it's something you're not going to do every time you're in tight on there. But the good players, they get one every so often.
And we have to talk about the young man, number 37. And he would get his breakaways starting at his own crease all the way down. So I was left as the play-by-play announcer with a little bit of dead time in there, which coined the phrase, "Can he?" Yes, he can. So they started using that, hashtagging that line on Twitter. Lachlan Elder, in his rookie season with the North Stars, what a huge addition to the defense.
There's no question about it, and he was strong back on defense, but he is also a great offensive threat in there. And of course, he had to lead the team, and maybe the league was short-handed goals this year and short-handed opportunities. In most cases, when Lachlan had it, he was just, once he got those legs going, like nobody was catching him. And you could darn near turn around and look at you and say, okay, he scored, just a matter of where he's going to put it. And not too often he missed, but he's got to be the Rookie of the Year.
Has to be Rookie of the Year, and I guess on Saturday at the Scenic City Golf Course. They'll be North Stars will be having their year-end golf tournament and awards dinner. I'm going to try to get there for the awards portion of it, just to see if and make sure that Lachlan Elder gets that award. He's also a pro draft pick of the National Lacrosse League Georgia Swarm, who won the championship last year. So hopefully Lachlan's going to stick with us for another year or two before he makes that jump to the NLL.
Well, even when he finishes there, hopefully, say he'd come back and play with the North Stars, because if they lost him, that would be, to me, one of the best, the greatest losses the team would have.
That's right, absolutely. So let's talk about the goalkeepers this year. Ryan Oldreeve and Tyler Glebe. We can call them the two-headed monster in there. The two of them finishing second in the league in goals against. And basically, Tyler Glebe got the lion's share of the play in the playoffs, but it must have been great for rookie coach Stu Gordon to have two guys like that that he could use at any time.
At any time, and of course, just look at the stats and how far they went. If you don't have the goaltending, you're not going to go that far. That's all there is to it. And then Tyler Glebe was just strong throughout, and then Ryan was one of those players that, the way he played throughout the schedule, he was one of the reasons why they got into the second place in there. And strong goaltending.
Absolutely.
Can't beat him.
All right, let's take a look at the season standings, if we could, Mark. The final season standings, as you can see, Owen Sound finished up, as we said, at 11-5, just edging out the Oakville Titans in the end. So Owen Sound received that bye, as the way it works in that league. And then they ended up playing Oakville in the second round. And they played Oakville, I think, 5 out of the last 6 years in the playoffs. So the North Stars easily won that in 3 games. But the Rivermen, they were strong all season long, but they just seemed to get stronger in the playoffs.
Well, of course, they've got players that are tied into that international league, that Can-Am league, and they can bring players in. Their goaltender, for instance, that's where he comes out of.
Oh, okay.
And then and they get out of Stu Hill plays up there. I think Roger Weiss switches off and plays up. That's why he only played 7 games all year in the schedule. Then. They've got talent at no end down on the Six Nations, but again, our guys just are great, and I think the difference is we just didn't have there's just enough strong forwards. We needed more Andy Campbell's up front, opens some lanes for the smaller forwards.
Yeah, and that Six Nations defensive core were just absolutely huge, and it made it really tough for guys like Riley and Zach Thompson to get inside. Mind you, they were quite capable of scoring from the outside as well, but their forte is more in the middle.
No question. Those fellas got to get in tight, and especially when you're playing against these #1 goaltenders, you've got to make them move, because they've got the big sticks and everything. If you're shooting for 40, 50 feet out, you probably got a 1 in 10 chance of bouncing a ball probably in there. That's all there is to it. Neil McKechnie stopped out to the warehouse on Saturday and told me, highlighted the game there Friday night, and again, one problem we had, we can't score in overtime, and that was a problem we had in there. And we talked about needing stronger, bigger forwards to help these, and that's exactly what they're working on this year, hopefully for next spring.
Fantastic. All right. So let's take a look now at the leading goal scorers for the North Stars, see where they finished up. Excuse me. As you can see, as you said, Robbie Milnes led the way this year. Oh, that's the playoff scoring, yeah. But he did lead the way for the North Stars in the regular season as well. But 16 points in the playoffs. You got Colin Maudsley, Zach Thompson, Riley Thompson, all of those guys pretty close in there. We mentioned all of them. Travis Sabolik's bad luck at the start of the season. He missed most of the year with a broken hand, but came back just in time for the playoffs. He contributed 12 points.
Without question. He was a great addition to it. And you're right, that hurt Owen Sound in the early part of the schedule. You take somebody with that talent out of the offense. And Travis is also a big boy in there, when he goes to the net, he's hard to move. So yeah, he brought his game to the playoffs, and with his help, that took it Six Nations to, as I say, 1 goal variance in each game.
So when Rogers, when we finally started broadcasting or televising the North Stars games again 2 years ago, there'd been a 20-year gap between the time that since Rogers last televised the North Stars games. Younger executive in there, and fresher mind, I shouldn't say fresher minds, but younger minds in there, understanding that the world is run by social media nowadays.
Right
All
on.
the advertising and everything goes through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, all of those things. And the guy that spearheaded it for this North Stars team over the past 2 seasons, Chris McGregor. Chris, again, a fantastic job he's done in
Super.
reminding people about the Owen Sound North Stars, and this year being their 50th anniversary, reminding them of all the greatness that we had in this town.
Oh, boy.
Thanks to the North Stars. And you were a good part of that for 37 years?
It was 1970 was my first year with them, and then, and you know, all through the power 70s, and then I can say that in the early 80s, having to go up to the Coliseum for that 2 years, that when they closed the downtown arena, that just about finished the North Stars, because first of all, the OLA wasn't going to let us play out of there because of the ceiling beams. They aren't really high enough, but and we had a few of the teams, Brampton, a few of them, they didn't want to come up there and play in that arena. But however, finally, we had 2 years up there, and it was devastating. We had some of the players wouldn't come back and play in that again, and that hurt us. But again, recovery, that's how strong the lacrosse is in this area. When we finally get into the new Bayshore in '84, the fans started coming back out, we started getting it. But you know, you talk on the media, all through the 70s, we had the old arena, a lot of the older fans remember this, we were sold out every game. Judy and I still have the subscriber books at home. Anybody denies it, we can show them the books. We sold 1,665 subscriber seats to an arena that held 1,785. We had to keep 100 and some tickets for the visiting team each game. But the CFOS broadcast the home and away games, and that kept the interest. If you were working nights, you could listen to the game.
Yep.
And then, so I commend the new executive in the North Star for getting some from media and some promotion of the sport to the fans who can't get out tonight to see the game in the arena.
That's right, and Rogers TV as well. You know, not just us, but I mean the crew that goes out there every single, every single game, home game. We've loved every minute of it, and executive producer Mark Perry putting it all together and making it happen, just as he does with this show, coming out, allowing the Rogers Studios to host North Stars Noise, and how much I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody appreciates the hard work that Mark Perry puts into every production that he does.
Oh, without question. And you know, if we didn't have Mark and the overall crew, I think we've got one of the best crews when we're doing games, whether it's minor hockey, whether the attack or any level of lacrosse. Some of the replays we get and everything else. Watch some of these other areas doing it. They're not even in the ballpark sometimes. Of course, I'm biased, obviously, but our guys do a fabulous job in there.
You could always count on them to get us the great shot, and it just, sometimes I wasn't expecting that replay to come back, and then boom, there it is on the screen. Oh man, there it is, and it's a treat for the viewers too, as well. You know, the viewers get another look at that. You know,
well, we see it all of a sudden. These things happen so fast. We see it one way and think, "Oh, that's how it happened." Then we see a replay like that, and oh no, I missed that, and this is exactly how it happened.
I hated those times when I proved me wrong. You see, I didn't care for that too much. Or you'd remind them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right, so I guess the President's Cup is the next stop for the Six Nations Rivermen.
Yep.
And that's about to get underway, or is it underway? I think Mark has a schedule here for. Here are the teams that are playing in it: Alberta, British Columbia, Can-Am, which is it's a Senior B. Some of the teams are from Canada, some from the United States. That's the name, Can-Am. Kananakwe, Warriors, Nova Scotia, Saskatoon, Brewers are there. The Rivermen. So Six Nations has two teams there, one being the host, the Slash play in the Can-Am League, and then TNSLL, which I'm not exactly certain what that stands for. So, but
I was going to ask you what is that ninth one in there, but however.
So what the way it was explained to us by the league president, Sharon McKechnie, she said that it's a round robin, and each team will play. Everybody plays everybody once. So they're going to have 8 games, I guess it is, over a span of a week. And then the top 2 teams, whoever's left, play for the final. So
Yeah, Mark gave me the schedule for that, and we had said some teams got to play twice in a day. Well, we had that when we were down at 79 into Akwesasne, New York, and when we got our first President's Cup, and you plan for it, and then and the players we didn't really have to keep them under control. They did a great job, and I'm sure that's the way it'll be down in Six Nations.
absolutely, and looking forward to see the final of that one. Now looking forward to next year for the North Stars. As you said, the plan is to build on this year. They had the best season since 2012, and as you said, they're going to try to add in. They know now what they need to beat a team like Six Nations in the final. They obviously have to get some more size to complement that smaller skilled players.
Well, I said to Neil McKechnie on Saturday, I said, what you need, and we did the exact same thing in the latter part of the 70s. Then we went out and got players. In fact, I had the pleasure of drafting Bill Laws, and then a lot of the North Star fans will remember Bill Laws.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he opened up a lot of floor for Ted Grieve, Normie Hope, and Mike French, and some of the players.
With Bill Laws, you either moved or he would definitely move you. You and I talked about him a bit.
Yeah.
But I was just a young man, and I definitely remember Bill Laws. He was one tough customer.
And he could play the game of lacrosse.
Oh, sure.
And then, but again, the North Stars need they need more people like that. Andy Campbell was a big man again, but Andy is not out there. He's out there to put the ball in the net also himself and use his body to get in tight, which he did. But we need someone who opens up some lanes for these smaller lads to get in tight on these goaltenders.
That's right. Okay, so on behalf of all of us here at Rogers TV, I want to thank the Owen Sound Senior B North Stars for a fantastic year. You gave Glenn and I a lot of exciting moments, so many great calls. The Lachlan Elder bet that's going to live on forever.
You're not going to live that down.
You know, can he? Yes, he can, and most times he could. So, again, Chris McGregor from the social media end of things, keep up the good work, man. You're doing a fantastic job reminding people all about lacrosse again. Before we go, I need to mention the minor lacrosse system. 5 provincial titles coming back to the city of Owen Sound this year. So, I live right on 6th Street. And those fire trucks and the honking horns, every time the Owen Sound minor teams won a championship, I got to watch it going right past my
And
house.
a lot of players who didn't come out for minor lacrosse this year, you know how strong some of these teams are. Get your stick out, get practicing, get back out and start playing with us again.
That's right. And again, I'm going to thank executive producer Mark Perry. Thank you so much for allowing North Stars Noise to use this space and for producing the show and doing such a fantastic job on all the graphics and everything that you do. That's going to do it for this season. Glenn and I, God willing, will be back
Hopefully
next spring.
Next spring is right, yeah.
2018 North Stars Noise. We'll see you then.